Login accepted.
Yeah? Wow, that was impressive. Thank you for the intro. So people are still getting in. There are some seats there in the front if you want.
Thank you.
Yeah, there are two left there. Awesome. Awesome to see so many people. So first of all, thank you for attending. I'm really honored. It's my first time in Poland. So it's my first Devoxx Poland. And I'm really liking it so far. So today, 48 minutes left for, don't worry, I have 2 slides, and then we will just go live coding, okay? So today I will talk to you about Quarkus, the Java stack, back from the future, okay? A few words about myself. I'm Sébastien Blanc. I'm half French, half Dutch. That's why I have this weird but sexy accent. You can follow me on Twitter, Sebi2706. My DMs are open. You can drop me a message there. Otherwise, you can write me an email at sblanc@redhat.com. I'm a developer advocate at Red Hat. I'm a Java champion as well. I organize my own conference in the southeast of France, best conference ever. And I consider myself as a passion-driven developer. Okay, so I like to be on stage and teach stuff. For a long time, I wanted to be a teacher like my father. But at one point, I preferred computers and IT. So I went in IT. But now, as an advocate, I have this opportunity to be on stage and teach my passion to people. Okay? And yeah, that's a live coding session. No more slides. Okay? So let's talk about, well, not talking, showing you about Quarkus. Who knows Quarkus? That's cool. I was expecting that. Just for the fun, who is using Spring Boot? I knew it! Not good. No, I'm joking. I love Spring Boot as well. Don't worry, I will show you some kind of stuff. If you're a Spring Boot developer, you can still enjoy Quarkus a lot. Okay? So Quarkus, what is it? If you go to quarkus.io, you see supersonic subatomic Java. Okay, that's the punchline. And then we have the marketing punchline. A Kubernetes native Java stack tailored for the JVM and GraalVM, crafted from the best of breed Java libraries and standards. Okay, that sounds really cool. So basically, it's a Java stack to build applications. Okay, and it's really opinionated, but at the same time, it's using some really known libraries like Hibernate, Vertex. For instance, the core of Quarkus is Vertex, so it's non-blocking, it's reactive by nature. And there are 2 great things about Quarkus. Well, there are several great things, but 2 important things. First of all are the performance. Okay? When you will build your application with Quarkus, it will be a smaller jar, a faster jar, and it won't use too much memory. You can even go further with GraalVM. I will show you that. So that is one part of Quarkus. The other part is developer experience. Okay? Quarkus is trying to bring the developer experience to the next level. And for this live coding session in the beginning, I will focus a lot on the developer experience. So what do you need to play with Quarkus? Well, you need Maven, you need a GDK. Okay? That's all you need. And if you want to compile to native, you will need GraalVM. I will come back on this later. And well, let's start. Okay? So how do I create a new Quarkus project? I have several ways of doing that. One way of doing that is going to code.quarkus.io. So you are almost all Spring Boot developers, so you know start.spring.io. It's exactly the same, and if you saw some Josh Long talks, he always do, there's the place, oh, I cannot do it as good as him. There's the place to go. So I can do the same here. It's a web interface. You can generate a skeleton for your app, choose your extensions, which are just dependencies, okay, and then you can generate your application, and that's it. Okay. Another way of creating your app is using the Quarkus IO. Don't I have the plugin, something Quarkus, something like that? You can do it like this, okay? You can also, if you want, use the Quarkus CLI. We have a Quarkus CLI tool, okay? And with that, you can create a new app if you want. What I'm going to show you today is the IDE integration, okay? So let me go, no, not this one, this one, okay? So I'm using Visual Studio Code here, and I have installed the Quarkus extension, okay? So I have support for Quarkus. And from there, I can just do this and say, generate a new Quarkus project, okay? I can choose Maven or Gradle. Let's keep it simple. Let's go for Maven. I'm looking if there are any Gradle people that I know here. No, okay. I can choose my version 2.10. That is the latest. It was released yesterday, so you know, I hope everything will work well, but I'm pretty confident. I choose my package, my group ID, or .sabi. I change the name of my application, so Devoxx Poland Live. Okay, it's a snapshot. A package name, because it will generate some code for me, so I can get started quickly, okay? So my package name or .sabi is okay. I want some starter code. I want my REST resource. It will create a REST resource for me, just with a basic hello word. And I want it to be called hello resource. And here I can add my extension. So I will just add one extension. It's REST easy. So it's an implementation of JAX REST to create my REST endpoints. And here I can go for the classic old school blocking way, okay? Or I can go for the reactive way. My talk isn't about reactive today. Maybe yesterday you were at the talk of Willem. He tackled the reactive aspect of it. And I think this afternoon we will have another talk. But just keep in mind, we take care of you. Your code will be reactive by nature. Okay, and that's it. And let me open that here in this folder. And I generate it here, and I open that in a new window. Come on. Come on, yes. I was about to say, hey, demo gods, please. Not so fast. I'm okay with the demo gods playing with me, but not in the beginning of the talk. Okay, so you can see it has created for me a pretty basic Maven structure project. Okay, I have here my sources. It has generated a really simple, yeah, that's not a problem, don't worry. It has generated for me a pretty simple REST endpoint. Let me just increase a bit the font. Okay, so if you don't know JAX REST and you come from the Spring Boot world, it's pretty simple. Look, it's listening to hello, to the pass hello. And if I do a HTTP GET, it will get into this method and return this string. Okay. It has generated for me an application.properties where I will be able to put my configuration. For now, I don't have any configuration. It has created some tests for me. Okay, so this is a simple test using REST assured to test my endpoint. Okay, pretty simple. And because in the end, there's a big chance that I will containerize my application and deploy it on Kubernetes, for instance. It has also generated for me some Docker files, so I can easily create a container for it. We will do that. We will deploy it on the cluster as well. Okay, but for now, let's just start my application and let's start playing with it. So let me open a terminal here. And what I can do a Maven clean package and then a Java jar. Okay, we will do that later. But for now, I will start my application using the Quarkus plugin. And here I say Maven Quarkus dev. That tells my application, okay, compile my project, start my project, okay, but be aware that I will be coding. And if I make any changes, just reload it, make my live reload available. Okay, so let's make sure my application is working. So here, if I do a curl localhost 8080/hello, come on, hello from REST easy reactive, cool, that is working. And if I go back here to my source file, and I say, hello, sorry, hello Devoxx Poland, for instance. So let me type Devoxx PL. I save it. If I do my curl again, Now it's updated, okay? And you might say, well, Sebi, that is not really impressive. You just change a string. Okay, that's true. So let's go a bit further. Let me add a new method. And because I'm really lazy, I just do copy paste. And here I add a new subpass, okay, on FR. I could add here the slash, but there's a convention. I don't need to add it. And let me call this method bonjour, okay? And here I return bonjour Devoxx Poland, okay? So I do this /fr, and I got it immediately working. So here I've added a method. I could add new classes. I could add new dependencies. I could change the configuration. I don't need to stop my application. It will just work. What is the magic behind that? Well, there's no magic. Every time that I hit save, Quarkus is so fast, it can just afford to stop and start again, and you won't notice it. So there's no really magic. Is that me making some sound? Whoa. Okay, so there's no magic. Let's add some configuration, because configuration is really important, especially when you will deploy your container on a cluster. You want to externalize all the configuration. Okay, so configuration is really important. Let me add a new config property. So config property, and you can see here in the package name, it's using microprofile. So microprofile is a set of specifications that was designed for Java Enterprise when Spring Boot was really popular, and we had the feeling that Java EE was a bit behind. Well, I should say Jakarta EE. And so in 2016, the big vendors, IBM, Oracle, also smaller one, Tommy Tribe, came together, and they provided a whole set of specifications which are specific for Java in the cloud, like configuration, fault tolerance, REST client, okay? And so configuration is we're using here one implementation of the microprofile spec, okay? So it's pretty easy. I just give it here a name. I will call this greeting, and then I just add a string greeting, okay? And now I could do something like that, return greeting. There we go, okay? So I need to define my config property here. Otherwise, it will fail. So I go here to my application.property, and one great thing, if you're using Visual Studio Code extension, you get some completion here. So I could put here, for instance, hola, okay? And if I go here back, let me clear it. Let me do a /hello. And I say, hola, Devoxx PL. Let me see. I got one extra space. Oh, that's nicer. Okay, so that is how I can use configuration. We're starting slowly, but yeah. I drink some water because I speak a lot. Okay, so one thing you have to keep in mind with this live reload stuff is, as I told you, we stopped the application and we started again. So we lose any state, okay? So for instance, if let me just do this, for instance. Whoa, that's a bit too small, sorry. If I add an atomic integer, okay? And atomic integer is a new, okay, come on, Sebi, I need integer. And here I do something like that, and I show here my atomic integer. I do increment and get. Okay, cool. So if I do that, I go here, I do my curl. Hello. I got hello Devoxx PL 1, 2, 3. Okay, you get it. If I change something here, that I make this, okay, the live reload will kick in. And if I do it again, I'm back to 1, okay? So I lost my state. If the state is really important for you, you can fix that, okay? So let me just stop the application for one time here, and I'll go to my application, and I can use the JVM instrumentation. And here I say, it's true, okay? It's true, and now if I launch my app again, we go. Oh, ooh, ooh. No. Oh, yeah. Now I'm on the wrong. Don't worry. It's Visual Studio Code. If I do my curl now, okay, 1, 2, 3. And now I change something here. I say something like this. And now I do this. Look, now I have the live reload and I can maintain the state. Okay, so this is really interesting. I showed it here with an atomic int. But for instance, if you are using metrics like micrometer that you can add here to your app, and that you want to maintain the metrics between the live reloads because you have you have a counter on your method, then you can use instrumentation as well to maintain the state. Let me see. Let me just remove the instrumentation for now, and I just stop and start. For instrumentation, is one of the rare cases where I need to stop and start my application again. Let's talk about testing. Take a look here. You might see here, test paused. What does it mean? Well, that's a new feature since Quarkus 2.0. If you want, you can have continuous testing. So that means you have your unit test, and instead of running them in your IDE, stopping your app, running your unit test, while you are coding, you can have your unit test running every time that you change your code. Okay? By default, it's on pause, but let me resume. And if you noticed, in the beginning, it has created for me a test case here. So if I start the continuous testing, it should fail because, yeah, well, you will see it. Let me resume testing. Okay, there we go. And yeah, it's failing because here it says, if I go up, it says, weapon's body doesn't match expectation. Expected is hello from West Easy Reactive. Actual is Hola Devoxx polling 1. So there's two things that I can do. Okay, I can go here and delete my test because testing is doubting. I'm joking. You should always test your code. No, I can fix my unit test. So let me fix my unit test here. So let me replace the body. And if I take a look here, I should back on green. Okay? So I have continuous testing. And I can also, if I want, I can add here another test case because I have my second endpoint, the F4 one. Let me call this test bonjour. Okay, and here we go to /F4, and it is bonjour. What was my code doing? Bonjour Devoxx PL. Okay, bonjour Devoxx PL. So that should be good. Did I? We will see. Oh no, did I? I forgot the L. And we are back to green. Okay, so that is continuous testing. I change here my test code, but if I change here my code, it will run my test again and it will break. So it's both sides. It's not just changing my unit test. Okay, I can get it here in my console, but if I'm running my project in dev mode, what I can do is bring up the dev web UI. What is the dev web UI? Well, it's pretty easy. I just go here to my console and I press D, and that will bring me to the dev UI. So here I see all the extensions that I have. For now, I don't have that much. You will see during the session I will add more and more. But I also have here this small console here. And I can also break my test here. Let me break my test. And I should see it here. Okay? So that is really interesting if you are working with, here it's a bit stupid because I just have one screen, but if you have working with two screens, I believe most of people are working with two screens, you can have this dev UI open on one screen and your IDE on the other screen, and you can have a constant look on the situation of your test. Okay? That is continuous testing. Let's go to the next. Let me fix first my code. Okay. And what should we do now? Yes. So remote, live reload, the live coding mode is nice. But what happens once I make a container, I deploy it in my cluster, and I want to know how my app will react in a Kubernetes cluster, for instance. It would be nice if I could have the same features, like this live coding stuff, but with my application running in a container, in a pod, in a Kubernetes cluster, and me coding on my IDE and seeing the changes. Okay, that sounds pretty crazy, but let's try to do it. Okay, so what I need to do is set a few properties, create a container image, push it to a registry, deploy it on Kubernetes, and then we will see. Don't worry, it sounds a lot of stuff, but it should be pretty fast. Okay, so first thing I need to do is change the packaging type, because by default it will create a jar for me, a simple jar. Let me see, packaging type. What I want is a mutable jar. Mutable jar is a special kind of jar, okay, where I can, while the jar is running, I can send .classes files, and it just changed my jar. Okay, so that's the first thing to do, and then I just need to set a secret, okay, between my local environment and my cluster. So close your eyes, please. There we go. And now, okay, I'm ready on this side. What I need to do is I need to create a container image. I have a lot of ways of creating my container. I could use Jib. I could use, how is it called, Cloudpack. For now, I will go the old school way. Yes, Docker is the old school way, sorry, but I will show you how you can use Docker. And what I really like with the files that are generated for you, in the comments here, they just put the command that you have to type. And I'm so lazy that I just have to copy paste here. And I just changed that to my registry. So it's on Quay.io. Quay.io is our Red Hat registry, just like Docker Hub. And then my username, Sébastien Blanc, 0, yeah, because I messed up creating my account. Happens to everyone, okay? And there we go. That will create, ooh, no. Yeah, it's the second time that I made the same mistake. That's not a problem. You know what? He says, hey, you want me to copy a jar into your container image, but I don't have any jar. So let's create a jar first. Maven clean package. Okay, because for now I was running in dev mode, so he didn't create a jar. So I have a jar now. My test should be running because I were, okay, there we go. Let's just make sure my jar is running. So Java jar, target, Quarkus, app, Quarkus run. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, hello. And you can see it started in 0.6 seconds. Okay, that's pretty nice. And if I check the memory, the RSS memory, I should be around 110, 120 megabyte, which is good. If you take an other famous Java framework that you are all using, it will be more like 250. Okay. Anyway, I got my jar. I can do my Docker build. So I create my image. There it is. And now I can do a Docker push to my registry. And now I need the support of the demo gods and the network. Let's hope it's not too big. Let's see. Ooh, network is good. Okay, pushed. That's great. I'm almost there. So I push my container there. Okay, this is cool. If I go here to my Quay, so that is my repository. I go to my Sébastien Blanc 0. I check here, and you can see here today, that's the container that I just pushed. By default, in Quay, your container is private, so I just make it public. Now it's public, and everyone can access it. And if everyone can access it, it means that my Kubernetes cluster can access it. Okay, so let me just grab here the name of my container, and let me deploy this container. So I could deploy it in a way of different ways, like generating Kubernetes resources, my deployment, my service, etc. I just go for the easy way. So I have here my Kubernetes cluster, which is an OpenShift. It's our distribution of Kubernetes. Red Hat, we do Linux for enterprise. Okay, RHEL. Well, OpenShift, keep that in mind, is Kubernetes for enterprise. Okay, it's the best distribution. Okay. By the way, I'm using here a free account. You can get one. It's called the Developer Sandbox. Okay, for 30 days, you can try it for free. No credit card ask, and you can just renew it if you want. If you want to know more, just go to the Red Hat booth. But I'm not a sales guy, so let me just deploy my container image. So what I can do here, I can just point to my container image. Okay, he's validating it. I say it's a Quarkus project, cool. And there's one thing I need to do. I need to set an environment variable called Quarkus lunch. No. Come on. Lunch dev mode true. Okay, so that's just one flag to say when you start this container, you should start it as dev mode. I just do create. Let me double check I didn't do anything wrong. Now my pod is getting created, okay? It should be here, containing creating. So my cluster is downloading the container. It's running. If I check the logs here, I can see that my Quarkus app started. Awesome, okay. And I started this as a mutable jar with dev mode true, which means that if I go, let me see. Sorry, come on. It's also created a route for me. So if I go here to /hello, okay, I get. So I could share this URL with you if you want. If you want to believe me, just scan it. It should work. Okay. It's available. We could scale it to several pods, but okay. But I take this URL. I go back to my IDE now, and what I want to do now is Maven, and I say Quarkus remote dev. Okay, and here I just change the URL. So you can see the last time I did it was for jug in France. But here I just paste this. Okay, so that will start my application in dev mode like we did in the beginning. But now it will connect to my application, which is in a container, which is in a pod, which is running in my Kubernetes cluster. Okay, and if I go here to my resource, we change that, and I say here live from my Kubernetes cluster, okay, and I save it. We should see here some stuff happening. We should see some stuff happening, come on. Let me see. I think I have an issue, but oh no, look, it's working. Oh, I'm even. So, I'm surprised. Now, because usually it says, oh yeah, there it is. It was just a bit late here. So here you can see it's sending my hello resource.class file to my remote cluster. I did that here. I could add a new class. I could add a dependency. I could, whatever I do with local dev mode, I could do it with the remote dev mode. And that's really useful if you want really to see how your application behaves in a real cluster. Okay, so that is a remote dev. Good question. I should try it. So I think if I set this property here that we used before, should work. Yeah. I won't try it now because I have a lot of other stuff to do, but it's a good one. I will try it after. Let me see. 20 minutes? Yeah. Cool. Let me stop that. So until now, let me remove mutable jar, back to normal. You saw me creating a jar. Okay, that's cool. But I also told you in the beginning of this talk that the JVM is great. It's working really great. The JIT is kicking in, so it will be really performant. But if you want an even faster startup time and a really small memory usage, typically the use case is serverless. you have no pods running, and you get a first request in, and you want your pod to start up immediately, and you have to have a deployment density, so not using too much memory, then compiling to native could be an option. Okay, and what do you need to compile to native? Well, you need GraalVM. There's a community edition that you can download for free. And then, just like your Java home, you export it like this, GraalVM home. Okay, that is a distribution that I get from GitHub, okay, from Oracle. And then I can do maven clean package, and here I pass a profile called native. So what will happen here? Again, it will create my jar, run the test, should still be okay, and there are test failures, okay? And that is the moment where I do testing is doubting. Okay, there we go again. Oh yeah, because I changed it for the remote stuff. Yeah, that's why it's, okay. So now it has created my jar, and here you can see GraalVM kicked in. So GraalVM, let me go to GraalVM. GraalVM. If I go to GraalVM, I like their punchline. If they didn't change it, oh, they changed it. Well, which is cool, high performance, cloud native, polyglot. There has another stuff, any source code to native, something like that. But basically, it can take any source code. Here, in this case, it takes bytecode from Java and turns it into a native binary of my platform. In this case, Mac, okay? But if I was doing that at home on my Linux, on my Fedora, because I'm still Red Hat, you know, it will create a Linux distribution binary, okay? If you are on your Mac and you need to create a Linux native binary, and you would need to do that if you want to deploy it as a pod, well, you can also do it. You can ask Quarkus to spin up a container, and inside this container, it will do a native, and because the container is Linux, it will do a native build inside this container. So even if you're on your Mac, you can still do a Linux build. Hopefully, what I was explaining that to you is done. Oh, almost now. So, to keep in mind, compiling to native takes a lot of time. You see here, we have a pretty simple app, and it took 1.5 minutes. So if you have a big application with a lot of libraries, a lot of classes, it will take way longer. But keep in mind that it doesn't matter if you're using JVM or native. Feature-wise, it will always be the same. So when you're working locally, you can just keep compiling with the JVM. And maybe if you have a CI/CD or some nightly builds, you can do it once per night or once per week, a native build, just to make sure it's working. So I have my native build now. If I go here in target, okay. What? Yeah, look at this. This one here, the wet one, this is something that I could put on my USB stick, give it to my friend who also have a Mac and who don't have the JVM, and say, you can just run it, okay? And let's run it. So here I say, runner, and be careful, we'll be really fast. Okay, I allow it, and look at this. Here my application started. Can I zoom in? Ooh, and now it disappeared. And I missed my whole nice effect. Where? Oh, here it is. Look, 0.018 seconds. Okay, and my app is really running. Eh? If I'm not joking. If I do here a curl, it's still working. Okay, and if I do, so how is my application? If I do a pgrep, so that is, a friend of me gave me this command. Because, yeah. How is it called? Devoxx PL Live. That will show me, if the demo goes are with me, the usage. Yeah, look at this. It's using 23 megabytes of memory. Okay? It will grow a bit when you get a lot of requests. But again, if you are in the use case of serverless, you get a request in, and after a minute you don't have any traffic anymore, it just spins down to 0. Remember that, 23 megabyte 0.018 seconds to start up. Okay, so native is nice. Again, it's not a must-have. Don't really keep that in mind, because on the JVM, it will be still really, really nice. 14 minutes, cool. Let's talk about persistence, okay? Because now I was just doing hello world. I was just doing developer advocate stuff. Let's go a bit further. Let's try to persist stuff, okay? So for that, I will be adding some extensions. What is an extension? It's just a jar, just a dependency that I add to my POM, okay? And in this case, I want to do some persistency using JPA, and I like to use Hibernate, okay? I can use the classic Hibernate, but I also have something called Hibernate with Panache, which make Hibernate way easier to use than it is, okay? So I can select this one. What do I need? I need something to march all my objects to JSON and back and forth. So I will use REST easy. Oh, come on, REST easy, JSON B. Okay. I want to connect to a database. Okay, so I need a JDBC driver. Let's go for Postgres. Okay, I choose here Postgres. I want to test my endpoints with Swagger. So I add just a small way OpenAI that comes with Swagger. And I think I'm good for now. So if we take a look here at my POM, it should be added now. Okay, I get all this stuff. Cool. I can start again my. Let's wait a bit before starting my application. Let's first create an entity. Okay, so let's create a developer entity. So it's a class. I just annotated with entity. You know it if you're using JPA. And here I could keep doing this, okay? Defining my ID, and then having an entity manager in my service or in my resource. But what I'm going to do here is using Panache. So I do extends Panache entity, okay? And what can I do with Panache entity? So if I go to this class here, this abstract class, I can see that it deals, it manages the ID for me. Okay, that's good. Oh, it's only this? No, because if I go to the base class, okay, I can see here that I have all the CRUD method, persist, delete, update, okay? I have a lot of finders. I'm using here the active pattern, active record pattern, okay? And I can just focus here on my entity. And I can say a developer, well, he has a name, and a developer, he has an age, okay? That's it, I'm done. And you say, hey, Sebi, that's a really bad practice here, what you're doing. You should make them private and make getters and setters. Yes, but I don't care. No, I'm joking again. If you extend Panache at entity at compile time, Quarkus will change the scope of those. It will make it private, it will create the getters and setters, and everywhere in your code where you do direct calls to this, it will change it with the getters and setters. But anyway, I'm done with my entity, and I can create a new resource. Let's call it developer resource.java, okay? And that will be my resource where I can access my developers. So I give it a pass, I call it developers, and I want to have two methods here, a get, okay, and a public. It will return me a list of. Oh, the other speaker is already done. 10 minutes, come on. Get developers, something like that, yes. And here, look how easy it is. I can just do return on the class object, and I have something called list all. Okay, that's my way of returning my developers. And of course, I also want to be able to create developers, so it's a post. Because I'm writing in the database, I want to make it transactional. Okay, and here I will do a public. I will return a response. Okay, and I call that save developer. And here I will take a developer, okay. And here I just do developer dot, and look, this time I'm on the instance, okay. And I can do persist, okay. And then I return a response, a status, and I give it the status, this one created. I pass my entity, my developer, and I built it. I'm good. Okay, so I'm good. Let me start. Yeah, I forgot to start my application. I could have done that while my application was running. It would have worked as well. Here I'm starting my application. What did I do? Quarkus, MVN Quarkus dev. No plugin found in the current project. Oh, yes, I'm in Target. I did it on purpose to see if you were still paying attention. Okay, so remember, we added a Postgres JDBC driver. I didn't add anything in my configuration, okay? But still, my Quarkus says, hey, looks like you are using the Postgres jar. You're in dev mode. Maybe you need a Postgres database. Let me spin up one for you using test containers. And that is what he does. So if I just go here to my console, if I do it clear, I do a docker ps, I should see here it has created for me a Postgres container, okay? No configuration, and I have my application running. If I go here in my dev UI again, let me close this because close, yes. So you can see here I have a bit more extensions, and I have Swagger. I can go to Swagger, and I have here my developers. If I do a try out execute, it should be empty, okay? And I can create a new developer. So let me try it out. So I can remove the ID, and Sebi, that's me, age. I will be 44 next Monday. Execute, okay, and that should work. And that has been persisted really in my database, okay? If I do execute here, I should get it back here. So this is what we call dev services. For a few things like databases, Kafka, security, we spin up a container for you when you are in dev mode to make your life easier. The Kafka stuff is also really impressive. If you just add your Kafka dependencies and you start playing with different topics, it will just spin up a Kafka cluster with all those topics made. 6 minutes, yes, let's talk about security. Security is always a thing that we do at the end, and we should not do it at the end, okay? I've spent a long part of my life advocating about security, always saying you should do that in the beginning, and now I'm doing that at the end. But you will see it's easy. Because in the end, you need to secure your application, okay? You need to provide some authentication, that some token checks, okay? There are a lot of different options in Quarkus. You can go the old school way, handling yourself, your security, your password, your users in your own database. If you can avoid that, okay, you should try to delegate your security. And one way of doing that is using OpenID Connect. And you delegate your security to an identity management server. There are a lot of options there. There's Okta, there's Ping, and there's a really nice project, open source project called Keycloak from Red Hat. I was working for them before. And let's try to secure this application. So it's still running. Let me add an extension, 5 minutes. Yeah, I have a lot of time. No, I'm joking. And I can add an OpenID Connect security extension. Let me do that. And again, what will happen here? Yeah, sure, why not? Let me see here. Woo! Let me just stop, start again. Sometimes you have to do it, but it's so fast, we don't really care. Here, Quarkus will see that I have added OpenID Connect. And he say, oh, so you probably need an OpenID Connect server. Well, I got here a Keycloak for you. Let me spin it up for you. Create a realm. So that a realm is like a territory that he has to protect. Let me create some users for you, some roles. And again, look here, my properties. I haven't added anything. So my application has started now. And if I go back here to my dev UI, let me go here, let me close this. I should have here OpenID Connect, cool. And I have a provider, Keycloak. And if I click on that, it provides for me, so OpenID Connect, I need to obtain a token, okay? So usually you have a front-end application, a JavaScript application that does the whole OAuth dance, that obtain a token, and then you can call your REST endpoints with this token. With the dev UI here, it provides you a simple single-page application, okay? I can log in into that, and it provides me two users, Alice and Bob, of course. Let me sign in with Alice, okay? And then I can try to access hello with access token. It works, but you might say that you haven't protected your application. So let's protect my application. Let's start protecting hello, 3 minutes, should be good. Here I can say on the class level, to access this endpoint, sorry, you should be authenticated and you should have the role admin, okay? So that will work for Alice because Alice is also an admin, I know that, okay? So still working, okay? But if I say roles allowed are only God can access this, okay? So here I get a 403 because Alice doesn't have the God role. I can also do it on method level. Okay, so I can imagine everyone that is a user can get the list of developers. Okay, but you need to be an admin. Okay, to create a user. So I just add this here. I go back here, logged in as Alice. Let me log out. Let me log in as Bob. Bob is just a poor user. He doesn't have the admin role. Okay, and to test my service, I can also here go to Swagger and with my authorized user. So if I try to get a user, a developer, sorry, execute. Okay, it should. Oh, what happens here? Hey. Oh, yeah, I close it. Okay, that's working. I can access it. If I try to create a developer, okay, oh, that doesn't exist, but I should have here a 401. I'm not authorized to do it, okay? So this is how security works. 1 minute left. Let me try to do something really fast here. With security, because I love security. I can inject my security identity. Okay, so the person that logged in, I can inject it as an object in my code. And here I could say, when I create a new user, I want to log. So here I'm using Quarkus logs, info f, developer s added by s, and here I pass the developers dot name, and I pass the identity. So the person that logged in get the principal, get name. Okay, so that should log for me when I add a new user. I could do a lot more with my identity project, but I have 10 seconds left, so I will just take 15 seconds left. I will go back here. I will, come on, open ID. Okay, let me log out. Let me log in as Alice, because Alice is admin. Alice, okay. I go to Swagger. I create a new developer. Okay, new developer. Sebi I don't care, I'm 18. Okay, that should work, okay, because I'm authorized. And if I go here to the developer Sebi added by Alice, okay, so that's are the kind of thing that I can do. I could speak the whole day about Quarkus. I'm still here today, tomorrow. Just ping me if you want to know more stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great end of conference. Thank you, everyone.